What's good, everybody? It's the Clown with Cap Show. NCAA football week 14, the last weekend of college football. It was amazing. Obviously, I'm really disappointing in some of my picks. Obviously, picking against Alabama. I don't understand why I did. I was really accustomed to really some good picks this year, but that was a terrible pick. Why did I pick Georgia? I thought their defense was legit. I thought their defense was the number one defense in the country. It was, but when you go against Alabama, something's different about them. And we have to give a shout out to Coach Saban. Whether you like him or not, he's one of the best coaches we've ever seen play, coach the game of football. You know, not even at the college level. I'm talking in general. At any level, Coach Saban can coach anybody. So I think for Alabama right now, obviously, they're the number one team coming in. Okay, they're going to open up in the playoffs against Cincinnati. I cannot wait for that matchup. But for Bama, they really controlled this game. I mean, the first quarter was really the only quarter Alabama lost. And that was it. After the first quarter, it was really Alabama put their foot on the gas and really just came back and really dominated this game here. You know, Bryce Young, he had 421 yards and 3 touchdowns. And, at the middle towards the end of the season, I was like, Kenneth Walker III from Michigan State, that running back should be Heisman winner. But now I'm really reconsidering either him or Bryce Young. I mean, this guy, we go back to last week against Auburn, right? A huge game, and they're down by, they were really down by 10 going into the fourth. They're always down, right? And at the end of the game, they're down by a touchdown, and he goes 98 yards to tie the game up. And I think that's a huge Heisman moment and really overcoming that and going to 4 overtimes at Auburn and winning that game. I really should have picked Bama and did my homework a little bit better. But, obviously I went with Georgia because of their defense, and they didn't show up. They gave up 41 points, the most of any game this year. Obviously, it's against Bama. They only put up 24. And their run game was definitely not a non-factor. They couldn't run the ball on Alabama, and I think with Alabama, that's just who they are, right? They're going to make you throw the ball on them no matter what. You're not going to be able to run the ball. In the last, really, to my knowledge, the last running back to really run all over Alabama was Zeke back in 2015 when he played for Ohio State and they won the national championship. He rushed for, I believe, over like 200 yards on Alabama that game. In the playoff, that was a crazy game, but that was really the last running back that I know that's really played well against Alabama on the ground. But that's just Alabama, dude. They know how to get it done. Williams, he dominated 184 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns with 7 receptions. I just think Alabama right now, we kind of written them off, right? They should have lost a lot of different games. They lost to unranked Texas A&M at Texas A&M this year, and that's their only loss. Yes, we could have said, they should have lost to Auburn, all this if, buts about it. No, we can always say ifs, but, at the end of the day, that's what happened. And Bama, dude, they're rolling. They are rolling. They're the number 1 team in the country, well-deserved. Number 2 is definitely Michigan Wolverines. I hope they beat Georgia. I just want to see a Big Ten team in the national championship. I do. I want to see them make it to the big game. And then Georgia at number 3. And then the underdog Cincinnati at number 4. I think this is great for college football. I'm so glad they're doing a playoff. I do think they're going to extend it, I hope one day, to like a 10-game playoff here. The top 10 teams in the country battle it out. Why not? I don't see it hurting college football. I just think this is giving an underdog a shot. Like Cincinnati, dude. Cincinnati, what a shot, man. This is the shot right here. You guys worked really the past 2 years to get to this spot right here. And you're playing Alabama of all teams here. So I think for Cincinnati, they're going to be fired up. They're going to have to, play the best game of their lives against Bama, or else it's going to be a long, long night for Cincinnati. But as far as Georgia goes, what's next for them? Look, Stetson Bennett against Bama in the SEC championship game. He had 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, 421 yards passing. He did pretty well, but some of the interceptions he shouldn't have thrown, and I think he knows that, and I think he's going to learn from it. But for Georgia's sake, let's take the positives out of the situation, right? Yes, you did lose. Yes, all the other stuff, but I think at the end of the day, you guys are still in the playoffs. So I don't think it matters if you're number 1 seed or number 3 seed or number 4. It doesn't matter. You're in the playoffs, dude. You're in, dude. All the records, all the stats, all that other stuff, it's out. It's out of the door right now. Right here, right now. This is the college football playoff. I cannot wait. This is going to be great. But so for Georgia, yes, there's still bright sides. Brock Bowers, he balled out with 10 receptions, 139 yards receiving, and 1 touchdown for Georgia. I think they're going to get him in the mix against Michigan. I think Michigan and Georgia is going to be a great game. and I think Georgia's coming in already favorites right now. But, let's not write off Michigan, dude. I'm telling you what right now, Michigan, their defense is the X factor to win a national championship. If they want to continue to put pressure on the quarterback and force him to do bad decisions, Michigan has the best shot of them all right now because they have the best defensive line in the country right now. I'm telling you that. I mean, Bama, yes, they're up there, but I'm telling you, Michigan, they got two guys right now that can go in the top 10 in the NFL draft in 2022. So, that's something for Michigan. But, for Bama, man, it just, I am so sick that I picked against Bama, dude. I was a sucker for that. I apologize to everybody. I just can't believe I really picked them. Coach Saban, he's on fire. They handled it 41-24. Roll Tide. And then we had Oregon versus Utah. This was really my lock pick of the week. I picked Utah. They got the job done. Really blew them out this game yet again. And I even said it's hard to be a good team twice, but, Utah, they just got their number this year. And Cameron Rising, 170 yards passing with 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Really wasn't the best game we've seen. Tyvon Thomas, he had 63 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, but Utah just put pressure on Anthony Brown and caused him to do bad mistakes, and he threw for 2 interceptions, and really it was just a quiet night. Travis Dye, the Oregon running back, he had 82 yards and a touchdown, but other than that, that's really all Oregon did. So shout out to the Pac-12 champions in Utah, man. Who would have thought Utah would be the Pac-12 champions? I sure did it. I thought for sure it'd be Oregon at the beginning of the year after they went to Ohio State, and beat them. And I was just like, no freaking way, dude. This is not real. It is. So, big win by Utah. Oregon, it's going to be a long offseason this year. A lot of hype for Oregon. So much hype going in for them, but, big win by Utah. Then we had Baylor versus Oklahoma State. I even said this is an upset alert game. I went Oklahoma State, originally, but then I was like, you know what? Come game time, I had to go Baylor. I went Baylor, and I said it's an upset game because I've seen Baylor play this year, and they've been battle testing more than most teams in the country right now. They've been thrown out in the field, dude. They've been thrown to the wolves, and yet they're coming back, dude. And Blake Shapen, their backup quarterback essentially came in, dude. 180 yards passing and 3 touchdowns, dude. Blake balled out. He balled out. Abraham Smith, he had 63 yards rushing this game. For Baylor, kind of made a difference here, but I think the difference for Baylor was their defense. Put pressure on Spencer Sanders, their quarterback. He threw for 4 interceptions. And we saw at the very end of the game, and this is why football is such a great sport, and I love it because it is truly a game of inches. That's what it is. And we saw Oklahoma State on 4th and goal on the 1-yard line. They did a sweep. And even before that play, I thought on the 3rd and goal, why throw the ball? I think, on 3rd and goal, you run it there. So you run 3 straight runs and you do not get a yard in the end zone. Then on 4th and goal, then you can throw. I just thought the play call was a little messed up. They threw it on 3rd and goal, incomplete. I think you got to throw it on 4th and goal there. Yes, they did the toss, and the running back ran out to the pylon and dove. But the Baylor linebacker, he came out of nowhere, chased him down, ran him down, and Oklahoma State running back, he came up about half a yard short from really going to the college football playoffs. I mean, we could even had a case where Oklahoma State could have jumped Cincinnati. That's what a lot of people were saying because Cincinnati had a weak schedule this year. But you know what? Cincinnati's definitely going to be battle tested at the end of this month. I'll tell you that, against Alabama. I mean, you can't get better than that, right? But if you're Cincinnati right here in your spot, you're in the college football playoff, you're playing against, the best team in the country, has been for the past decade, and I think this is a dream come true for Cincinnati. If I'm a Cincinnati player, I'm over here saying yes, dude. I wasn't, a lot of these players, they didn't go to Alabama because they want to play maybe 1 year. And I heard a lot of people saying, well, Desmond Ridder, he wouldn't be able to start it for Bama. Stop that. When we're talking about Desmond Ridder, he can play in the NFL, dude. He has the talent, he has the arm, and he has the height. So I think that is crazy talk. Cincinnati, they got the job done this weekend against Houston. Desmond Ridder, dude, I'm telling you, a baller, 190 yards passing with 3 touchdowns. Jerome Ford, 187 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. And then their star receiver, Alec Pierce, 2 receptions, 65 yards receiving, and 1 touchdown. I think for Cincinnati, their key to beat Alabama is definitely their offense and controlling the clock here and running the ball with Jerome Ford. They've been doing it all year this year. Yes, he was banged up towards the middle to the end of the season, but other than that, man, Cincinnati, there's no more excuses here, right? You're in the prime game. You've got what you wanted, dude. Everybody's counting you guys out. The underdogs are in, dude. So this is great for college football. Obviously, I would have root for the underdog. I do, but then we got to get some logic in it. But I just think for Alabama, dude, yes, they're always good. But I think for Cincinnati, if you're a Cincinnati player right now, you're thinking, man, I'm blessed to be in this position. I'm grateful to play against Alabama coming up. We do legit have a shot to upset Alabama. I know that sounds crazy to say Cincinnati Bearcats could upset Alabama. Stop it. It's going to be a blowout. But I'm telling you what, right now, they have the recipe to do it, dude. Now, yes, I will say their weakness is their secondary, giving up a lot of points. I think, they're going to have to lock in on their secondary. I think that the difference is putting pressure on Bryce Young. That you got to, or else he's going to sit back and really pick apart Cincinnati's defense. So Cincinnati's defense is definitely the X factor of upsetting them, because we know what Cincinnati's offense can do with Desmond Ridder, Ford, Pierce, all those guys. They can score. They can score on anybody. We've seen it. They put up 24 on my squad on Notre Dame at Notre Dame, at the beginning of the year, really. So I think, Cincinnati, they could score on Alabama. I'm not worried about that. It's their defense, so I can't wait to see that matchup. But, I'm not going to count out Cincinnati. I'm not, dude. To say that Cincinnati has no chance, that'd be ignorant. They do have a chance, dude. They have a shot here, and they have a great coach. But, obviously Alabama right now, they're probably the favorite to win it all. Whereas last week it was Georgia. Georgia had a great season, perfect season. But, I'm telling you what, Alabama's as real as it gets, dude. So I cannot wait for that Cincinnati-Alabama game. Then we had Michigan versus Iowa. Big Ten championship game. Michigan handled business 42-3. I expected that. Michigan realized, look, we win the Big Ten championship. We're in the college football playoff. It doesn't matter if we're a 2 seed, a 3 seed, or a 4 seed. We're in. And that's what Coach Harbaugh understood at the time. So I think this is great for Michigan. I love it, honestly. I'm just sick and tired of seeing Ohio State in there. The Big Ten team year in and year out, Ohio State, whatever. But I'm telling you right now, Michigan, they can really do it. And like I said, it starts with their defense, dude. Defense truly wins championships. In Michigan, they got a legit defense, a legit defensive line. And we saw them match up against Ohio State, So I think that's great, dude. Cade McNamara, 1 touchdown, 1 pick this game. And really, Iowa only put up 3 points. So, Michigan's defense is legit, dude. They came to play, and they're playing against Georgia, and I think Georgia and Michigan matchup's going to be epic. I think whoever has the ball last in that game's going to win. I think it's going to come down to the wire. I think this game's going to be like 28-31, somewhere around there, either Georgia or Michigan. I think that's going to be a huge game. Obviously, I'm rooting for Big Ten here. Big Ten football all the way, man. Go Michigan, dude. For Harbaugh, this is huge for his career. Going from the NFL, taking the San Francisco 49ers to the Super Bowl, playing against your brother, losing the Super Bowl against your brother, then going to Michigan and really 0-5 against Ohio State. Not a great start for Michigan. You're there 5-6 years now. All of a sudden, you're in the college football playoff. So I think for Michigan, not giving up on Harbaugh was huge, because I said a couple years ago, I thought Harbaugh should have been fired. I really did, but they were patient with them. They said, let's give them another shot, okay? And I think that's great. So Michigan right now, they're in a great spot, dude. They're playing Georgia. They saw Georgia does have some weaknesses on defense, obviously playing against Bama, but I think for Michigan, dude, I think they can get it done, and again, when they match up against Iowa was 5 for 19 on 3rd downs, dude. That is crazy, dude. That is locked defense all the way, dude. So go Michigan, man. If I were to choose, I'd obviously choose either Michigan or Cincinnati to win the national championship. That'd be my pick. And then we had the ACC championship game, Pittsburgh versus Wake Forest. I went Wake Forest. I was kind of silly for picking Wake Forest. I thought Sam Hartman was going to ball out this game. He had 4 interceptions with 2 touchdowns, and really that was the difference right there. Some of the balls he should have not have thrown, and we didn't really see this in the season. I think he was a little shaken up here, but hats off to Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett, arguably the top 3 best quarterbacks in college football right now, dude. He had 253 yards and 2 touchdowns. He put up crazy numbers this year. Kenny Pickett, man, I do see him advancing into the next level, into the NFL someday, 100%. And his star receiver, Jordan Addison, he had 8 receptions, 126 yards receiving. And really, they blew out Wake Forest, 45-21. And it was all Pittsburgh here. Shout out to Pittsburgh, man. They got the job done. But the upset of the week was definitely Baylor versus Oklahoma State. And I even said that was an upset alert game. I changed my pick last second to Baylor. What a pick. because I said Oklahoma State, their defense was sus. And Spencer Sanders had a terrible game with 4 picks, so that was the difference. But the college football's here, baby. The playoff is finally here. I love it. This is the best time. Bama versus Cincinnati, Michigan versus Georgia. This is going to be great. And some of the great bowl games that are coming up are going to be epic. But I think for the college football playoff, a lot of people are expecting a big blowout, right? From Alabama and Cincinnati. Cincinnati has no shot. Alabama's all day. I understand that, okay? But let's give the underdog a little credit here, okay? They're undefeated. Last year they really almost upset Georgia, okay? But, let's just forget everything from last year and right on up to this point. I truly believe Cincinnati can make this a game, dude. I really do. I think they can. I think for Cincinnati, the key, you got to start off fast against Alabama. You got to score touchdowns and not field goals against Alabama. That's what you got to do. And then obviously Michigan, Georgia's going to be an epic. I think that's going to be great, man. What a season for college football, baby. Let's go!